Hello everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Simplifying Real Estate, a monthly podcast series by Aris Uniturn. I'm your host Rekha, and every month we bring in you seasoned developers and industry experts to find out what it takes to be successful in this very dynamic field of real estate. Today, we are very excited to have the power couple, Anand and Uma Vilayannur. Anand is the founder and CEO of TMGL Group, and Uma is the director. She takes care of the brand, communication, and strategy at TMGL. We're so very excited to have the two of them on our show today. Anand comes from a very fascinating background. He has been an investor banker. He has worked with the JP Morgans, Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, and Citibank, and he's been in the US. And then he comes back to Bombay and starts real estate development. So it's very fascinating to know how their journey has been. And Uma comes from a very strong HR background. She has a very deep understanding of the human insights and really believes in stakeholder management and strongly believes in those client relationships. She handles the brand of TMGLs and its communications. So thank you so much, Anand and Uma, for being our guest and being on this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. So let's start right away. I mean, you have been this high flyer banker, investment banker. There's a life in the US. You're working with any brand that you name in that space. You come back to Bombay and then start this really brick and mortar business of real estate. How has that journey been and how did that happen? Any regrets or how that?
So let's not start with the regret or where we are going or whatever. You think about that as it goes. But it happened more by chance rather than proper planning at the beginning.
Sure.
And as a couple, we have always focused on real estate as an asset class.
Yes.
To begin with, as an investment asset. Yeah. So basically, when we are in the US as an Aris, a good 15, 16 years in the US, out of the country. So the only real connect with the motherland or the country is where you invest in real estate. Huh? So as a genre, as a liking, we're very strong with real estate as an investment class. So that's how the whole love for real estate or the liking or understanding of real estate from the buyer or the retail user, if you will, started off. Yeah, and then just about when we came back to India in 2007, we just happened to go to the countryside and I just saw a very large piece of land, and lo and behold, I didn't know what to do with it, just went and bought it. So that's the whole first experience or lack of experience, if you will. That's when we started. And then one thing led to another. We didn't realize that it'll grow so big or it could become big as we went on. But just things happen. My philosophy coming from a big bulge investment banking background, always thinking big, where I've done deals in the billions, if not billions, thought big, did big. I guess the same psyche worked here. And that's where all the mistakes also happen, because real estate is something which you need to do baby steps and then grow as you age, because there's a lot of mistakes that you do, and mistakes are not which you can correct overnight and come back to. This is something which you need deep pockets, a lot of capital, a lot of experience, a lot of expertise. Anything and everything that can go wrong will go wrong. You got to be at it all the time. So not an easy field, very difficult field. So getting into the depth of it and then learning is not the right thing to do, but just happen. And I don't know if you're going to be any regrets or we're going to make it happen, but we're working hard. We're working towards it. We're working hard. And the journey has been fun. Lot of pain, lot of stress, and it's been fun. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
I want to understand from you, Uma, how was it for you? Because you have a husband who is from a very corporate, stable background. And then he wants to come back, leave US, come back to Bombay and start real estate. I mean, you would have had your doubts or how did you support? How was those initial days for you?
I'm going to pick up from where Anand has said that we really didn't think too much about it in the beginning because I think it happened a little organically, and I decided to actually help him, like any wife would probably think, right? I have no understanding of the industry, or I have no background to the industry, even when it was investment as a buyer. All that we would see from a the woman's perspective is ghar acha hai, the location or whatever. And till that much in terms of sensibility of the location and the design or whatever is where, see, when I decided, okay, when we are starting, obviously you don't want to grow too much in terms of number of people. So I said, okay, chalo, HR is my background, let me help in recruitment. And then women being women, operationally we're definitely better. So little involvement started actually like that. And there's not too much thinking and thought through in terms of how everything, it just evolved actually. Just evolved, yeah, absolutely.
So, tell me about your first project. I mean, how did that happen? And when you started off, did you feel you were on the right track?
So, it's two ways to do business here. You basically build on 10% a year. You start a little, keep growing. What we did, or what happened in 2013-14 is we just went and picked up a very large piece of project in the city.
Yes.
And that in the heart of the city. So what would have taken 10, 12 years of effort to get started, and again, not much of planning, just happened. And you call it a beginner's luck, you call it our skill, you call it whatever, right? We banked that project, right? So, and before us, a lot of people had solicited that, tried to get that, couldn't do it, couldn't make it, and we just, lo and behold, we tried for it, and then, call it whatever, right? Call it luck, call it the gift of gab, call it, deep involvement, call it what we did went right, whatever, we banked that project. So, in that process also, we got more than what we bargained for, right? We should have started with baby steps, we should have done a little bit and then grew. But the way my thinking works, the way, you strategize, you do the same kind of effort for, turning around a small, $1 million project. You do the similar kind of effort, a little bit more, to do a $10 million project. Yeah. So we just took it up, the project grew leaps and bounds and became a very big elephant. Okay? What didn't work out when was the timing or the environment for that timing. Right? Real estate is all, it's all timing. Right? You will see that this industry has 4-5 years of fantastic, very good uptick curve, and then all of a sudden it has another 4-5 years of a terrible timing, bad timing, nothing works. We got into that timing, we got into that tsunami phase, wherein everything was going down south, nothing worked. So we learned it the hard way, got it the hard way, had to work 10 times over to get a result out, right? And just started. And we picked up that genre. We said, this is our genre, this is the space we want to be. We call it redevelopment, the city of Bombay, we call it redevelopment. And in redevelopment also, we picked up a particular sweet spot wherein we only do municipal projects, municipal redevelopment projects. So projects we belong to the Bombay Municipal Corporation. So we pick up that. That's our sweet spot. So today, fast forward, we begin basically talking to, working on 5 projects, fairly on similar size, and trying to execute all the 5 projects together. So that's where I don't know how it started, but kept plugging away, kept looking at all the struggles, swallowing it, putting it down, putting it away, moving on, plugging away. That's what it is.
Tell me about any amusing anecdote or beginner's blunders that you would have done, in the early days that you can, recall now.
See, it's so much on the ground business. Right? And what's fascinating about this business is everything changes every day. Right? There is no constant. Right? There is no government support. There is no industry per se. Now, after the COVID and all, there's a lot of talk about making it an industry, working together as a team. Uh, as a genre, as a business, as a stream, there is no set pattern. There's no rules. There's nothing which is constant. Everything changes every day, right? Even the rules, regulations. So you've got to be at it all the time. So that's fascinating. That's fascinating. That's challenging, right? There is no same day every day, right? And the challenges only increase every day, and you got to keep fighting it. Right? And you don't know if there's an end to it, if there's a result to it. You know, you could turn it around and say, hey, I'm a very successful and happening developer, or the same project could take you on the ground and say, no, Dustin. So that's the challenge. You know, you got to keep at it. There's no giving it up. And then once you're in, you're in. Right? There's no coming out. There's no half baked. There's no running around and saying, I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to scale it down. There's not just.
Yeah, so because it's not just brick and mortar. No, it's not just a building. Because we are in the space of redevelopment, there is human lives involved, people involved. You de-home the people, you have to rehome them. That is your prime responsibility, apart from creating new safe. So many factors which are not completely, controllable. So many variables. So I think that is the most challenging aspect of this industry, right? It's not like many industries where, like he said, you can scale down. We won't do this.
Once
cannot
you're in,
work. Once you're in and you're deep in.
You're responsible also.
Complete. That is definitely the prime important point, right? Responsibility towards whom you are housing, responsibility towards who you're delivering to the new buyers, all of that, right? So
challenging as well, very challenging. And then there's no definitive. There's no definitive that you put a raw material into the machine this side and then takes an X amount of time to cut it on that side. There's no definitive. Right? It's up to you. And there are times, there are days, there are months, there are weeks, and you're giving it 120%, 200%, and the results are only 10%. Right? That's the kind of industry that is. And at times when the flavor is good, when the environment is good, when the markets are good, you put in 10%, you could deliver 100%. So it's
very
crazy.
dynamic, very dynamic. Yeah. I want to ask this question to both of you, but I'll begin with Uma. Now, TMGL stands for smart, sensible homes. So could you actually explain the strategy behind, and I would come to you as to what was the investment strategy behind coming out with that?
Yeah. So when we started thinking about what is the end result product that we have to deliver, we were the clarity that at that point of time we said we don't want to go too big and not too small. Bombay being Bombay, every square feet inch is what is to be utilized to the maximum measure.
Yes.
And because we have in the US, being in New York, the similarity exists, right? So you have seen apartments like that or smaller with the kind of cost or whatever. So smart and sensible completely is from a usability point of view, design point of view, right? That where smart and sensibility comes in when we are designing deliveries of the sale apartments, no wastage of space, because like I said, every inch matters. And when we speak to our counterparts in Chennai and those places, they are shocked that for this kind of money, what we're getting is about 800, 900 square feet of homes, right? And that is the parity of the cost in terms of what real estate commands in a city like Mumbai. So that is where we said, okay, let us restrict ourselves in terms of what space we want to be in, right? So typically a 2 and 3 bed apartment is the range of apartments that we want to be. Financially also it fits in a bucket. So at least we know while we're delivering and designing a product, right, it's not too opulent, too humongous, right? At the same time, it has the amenities that it has to cater to the crowd. right? And most of our projects, because these are municipal redevelopments, the locations are fantastic in terms of where it is, and it is typically the locality of 5 kilometer radius buyers who are upgrading their lifestyle. So the kind of product that we have to deliver has to cater to that kind of a environment. So that is where we said, let's be smart and sensible with respect to, using public transport, being availability of having public transport, which is rails, the metros, so most of our projects are blessed with that. And that is what we look at. So now, after, what we started with, to what we will go further, at least we have a thought process that this is our space, this is our bucket, this is where, in terms of any TMGL offering has to have, in terms of low wastage of space, very good design, very clean, neat, in terms of how things are.
So planning is
Planning.
Planning is a key. Planning in terms of what are we offering to the end customer.
Yeah.
So even if a 2-bedroom, assume the product is a 600 square feet or a 700 square feet home, if you see our designs, you would like to proudly state that the 600 square feet always almost feels like a much bigger 700-800 square feet apartment, right? It doesn't feel cramped, it doesn't look cramped. So planning is a key aspect, like Uma was trying to even describe. And sensible, the key use of the word sensible is every space, every amenity, every utility that you provide comes with a cost. Right? So there is a sweet spot, there is a fine line between what is the amenity which is actually needed, which is actually used, which is actually valuable to that kind of genre of people that's using them, and which is at what cost. Yeah. So you basically try to marry that, and you basically say, this is my sweet spot, this is my thin line, this is a must-have for this kind of people.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that is a waste, anything is not sensible. So this is where we need to stop to make that product the most sensible and the most value for money for that customer. So that's where we basically put our entire thought process to. And till today, the plan stands. And like I said, I keep saying till today, till now, because nothing stays in this industry. So you can't say tomorrow. I know you can catch up and say, hey, last year you said this. This is not the Zen industry, right? But till today, the last 6-7 years, this is the space. 2 and 3 sensible, smart apartments. A complete inch is valued and used up by our end customer, including the infrastructure, the amenity, the utility, everything that goes along with. And he feels happy that what he paid for is more than what he's needed for. That's our USP. That's what we try to do as a USP.
Nice. So how has the how has the growth grown over the years? What has been the successes? What has been some of the challenges? What's been the journey?
So like I said, we started with this 100 project. That project is not where we want it to be because of the time and the environment. And like I said, what also delays the rules and regulations that governs how and what we create kept changing in the last 3 years, right? So we started with the X as a number, and X was a deliverable. That X probably has gone up to 3X today, right? So as developers, as people being in the space, you want to keep changing to make sure that X to 3X is taken care of. So in terms of planning approvals, what you can build, how much you can build, how much you can give in that particular space, how we can do, everything has changed in the last 3 years. So that change also means delay in terms of starting the execution. Because you plan and change happens, you replan, change happens, you plan, change happens. That happened, COVID happened. And so the last 5 years has only been this, but we are not taking on that project. But what also happened is, besides this, post this, we took another 3 projects. That's gone on a faster track. Right? So those are on a faster delivery pace. And the ones we took after that is basically, there's a journey, there's a learning curve. The first one, we did a huge learning curve. So that's where all the mistakes happen. That's where all the, how to, where to, what to, all that learning.
What not to do.
Learning curve happened. So the 5th one, which we're doing, is going on a much faster track, because the learnings of all this, we're hoping we don't unlearn all this and do all those, do mistakes, but much lesser mistakes than what we did. That's going on a much faster track. So if you say, have we done anything in the last 5 years? We've done a lot of things in terms of laying the groundwork, getting to where we are today, with all the issues and problems and learning curves and environment and marketing changes and stuff like that. What do we envisage and where do we see in the next 3 years? The strategy and the planning looks like next 3 years, 2025, 26, we should be a mid-sized company. Is what is the vision and the hope and the strategy? Time will tell.
With definitive deliveries. Finally,
Absolutely.
that is the test in this industry. You can speak whatever. A standing building is the testimony for anything. You can't really escape that.
So like one of the projects we picked up was picked up from somebody else. So we tested that model as well. The same genre, same phase, municipal redevelopment. That project started for the last 20 years. So we picked it up and that's our first OC delivery project. When the kind of happiness and the kind of satisfaction in getting those 200 odd people who've been out of their homes for the last 20 years, getting it delivered in 3 years and getting them back in is something that you can't describe and you can't, measure. Right? That success is huge, right? I'm sure that we just did, right? And another one which basically again we took out from. So we got 3 which we organically grew from ground zero, and these 2 which we picked up. So this one was a 20-year-old legacy project. The other one was a 15-year-old legacy project. That's also seeing the day of light, right? So these 2 projects where people have been out of their homes, don't know what's going to happen, given up. Half the people who started the journey have not even exist, have gone away. To basically pick it up and being able to deliver it, it's a huge satisfaction. Right?
Absolutely.
And when we're able to do it in our own 3 organic projects, that's a bigger satisfaction. So hopefully in the next 3 years, that's where we end up growing.
Wonderful.
I wanted to also know that is there any particular learning that you can share with our audience today? Because you said that you learned from from your earlier mistakes. So what is that one learning that you could actually ensure that it doesn't happen in those delivered projects?
So let me particularly talk about the redevelopment space. Do whatever you want to do whatever plan you want to do before you kick off the project. When I say kick off the project in the sense, you start evacuating the people and break the ground zero. After that, I guess, even if changes happen, even if it's benefit, even if it's positive, even if you see that your revenue is doubling up, I would say hold on. Just deliver what you got and move on. There's another project that you can do, whatever doubling that you want to do. Don't go back to the drawing board. Don't do a redesign. Don't do a replan. Because eventually what happens is you look back and say, hey, I've lost 3 years, 4 years doing this replanning and rephasing. What do you taken the people out? What do you burn a lot of capital? And when you look back after 3-4 years, you're still in ground zero and you're still basically chasing capital. You're looking up your balance sheet, you're looking up your Excel sheet and you say, hey, there's too much money to be paid and too much to be delivered. But actually what's happened on the ground zero in the last 3-4 years is zero. So whatever you want to do, wait till you get them out of the place, you make the place ground zero. And after you've done that, what do you have in hand? Just go ahead and deliver.
Time is of essence, frankly. That is it. If you've planned something, move away from that plan. Time is it, right?
Because that's the
Slowly,
controllable.
yeah.
That's your controllable.
Exactly.
There's too many uncontrollables. Like COVID is something that our generation, has seen. We wouldn't have even thought about it. So this industry lost a good year and a half, if not more. And what we've learned is a loss of 3, 6, 9 months is not just 3, 6, 9 months. It doubles up, it triples up, it hits you back. Any other world you could say, hey, we'll delay this shop launch, we'll delay this brand launch, whatever, because we'll do a little better, we will add value to it, it'll give us a much bigger platform. It works. I think, I don't know that. But here, it hurts, right? And what we as a developer has to understand is, this is not the only project, this is not the last one. You keep your bucket as to what you planned, what you started off as a drawing board, go on, get it done, right? If you say that the bucket has grown bigger, let's try to think and analyze and do it again and wait. It's okay to lose a couple of years, it's not.
So
That's
because
the beauty.
home buying decision is a very life decision.
Absolutely.
You want to say, there are people who are buying homes saying, okay, my kids are growing up. By the time they are ready to settle down in their lives, I need to have that extra bedroom, right? Or it's a couple who is saying, by the time my child grows to so and so age, I want to be near this school. And so it is a very, very life oriented decision, and time is not going to wait for growth of any perspective,
Absolutely.
right? So hence it is our
So
responsibility.
everybody suffers. Yeah?
Everybody.
Customer suffers.
Everybody.
The person who you have shown a dream that you're going to give him a bigger house and much better lifestyle, and that person suffers. The company suffers, your capital suffers, family suffers, everything suffers. Just because you said, hey, I'm supposed to make 1 rupee, there's a potential to make 3 rupees. Let's plan it and let's do it differently, and let's wait. Waiting is something that kills in this industry. Till that time, basically, you're not, kicked off the bucket. Do whatever waiting you want to do whatever planning you want to do. And once you've done it, just go in all out and just get it done. Don't cry that you've got more, you could have way more money, you could have done a bigger project. There's many more projects you do. Just get it done. That's the big one. That's a big one.
So how did you decide to team up? I mean, was it like a eureka moment that you will do together?
I said, let's check into it.
And
So in the US, she was a working professional. And she's done very well in the US in marketing, HRs, sales, in the professional world, right? So one is basically when she comes in, she understands what's actually happening.
Sure.
And what are the gaps, what are the issues, what are the problems, rather than staying at home. Second, is a capable professional.
Thanks.
And you miss out on that capable professional, but not adding that professional to your industry and saying, hey, I value. That makes sense, right? So we needed that skill set. We had somebody who was actually waiting. It made sense. Because when you come in and dive deep, you understand what's happening, right? And there are no questions, there's no doubts, there's no issues when you get back home in the evening and say, what the hell is happening, right? Being inside, what the hell is happening, right? So that helped as well. So I don't know if
No, I think as a married couple, I think both of us appreciate each other's strengths. We understand that, and there is complete acceptability in terms of professionally. These are the things that his strength is, and these are where my strength lies, and we're able to, at least today, able to work together with those. In the office, it is very much professional in terms of if he has to sound me off over something undone or whatever, and it is like anybody, right? And that much respect is there, wherein I understand that this is his expertise. Obviously, I lack that, and this is where things have to move on. So I think that respect for each other's strengths is what is getting us working decently peaceful.
But I'm sure there are good days and bad days.
Oh, yes.
And you would have had some stressful things.
Oh yes,
How do
definitely.
you ensure when you go back, you don't carry that baggage with you?
It's difficult.
no. So one positive side is you don't need to go and explain at
I'm
home
sure, yeah.
because you're living in the office. Secondly, try to live it back in the office because it's long days, usually very long days. Right? You don't end the day before late in the evening or early night, right? So it's already a long day, right? And you're tired. So there's no time there's no energy to basically take it back home and discuss.
Yeah.
There are days when we start discriminating when you say no, let's take it,
Yeah.
because there's another battle another day tomorrow. Let's go take it back in the office. Yeah? So we try to leave it back in the office, and because both of us know what's happening in the office because everything we are involved, if not equally, but at least involved. So everything is known. There's no unknown in the office, so there's nothing to discuss more at home.
Yeah.
So we try to leave it back and
Consciously, we make an
Consciously,
effort
yeah,
saying that let's not take it back home.
yeah.
And there is children, there is other home and household also. So and Netflix and the OTT to the rescue.
And I think I take stress, right? People in my office say that he likes stress. Right? So I take stress well. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me much, right? So that's a way to keep kicking and keep live, right? And we have a lot of diversions, a lot of other things that we do.
Yeah.
I still try to connect with sports. She's still culturally very involved. We have a lot of friends, so we have good weekends, we have good evenings. So that gives a lot, kids. So it's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful.
How has your real estate journey been? I mean, you started with Anand and came into real estate. How has your experience been?
So
And tell me about, for you, growing this TMGL brand has been like a baby, right?
Definitely.
Tell me about that.
There are times when I keep thinking that whose dream is this? Professionally, right? Is it my dream? Is it his dream?
our dream.
It's difficult. Then you kind of come back and say, no, this is our dream, right?
Yes.
Because organically, I was not into it in the beginning, right?
Okay.
Then it just happened after that. So I think one definitive I can state is I have learned a lot about myself, right? As a professional and as a salaried person always, that gave me a lot of solace. I was very happy wherever I work. We've always been working. They've always been employed, right? But wherever we've been working, we know end of the month the salary is coming. You live your life in that means, employee mindset. I'm very happy and content with that, right? So definitely the entrepreneur space was not something that I took very well in the beginning, frankly. It didn't go well because a lot of things go haywire personally, right? Whether it is finances, whether it's anything, right? It's forget the extra of life, right? Basics, when certain basics are impacted, and unfortunately, the South Indian Tambram mindset is the end of the month that comes, you're happy, you're contented.
Sure.
That's how we've grown up.
Absolutely.
So that definitely was something that I had to deal with. But, and I'm happy to share this, that I think he sees a lot of strength in me that sometimes I don't see it or I don't realize it, or the skill, right? I always maybe undercut myself and say, no, this is not something that I'm capable of doing, or I don't think I can do this. But then he says, no, try, at least go and do it. What is that? I'm there, behind. So that is when slowly, I started getting into things, and I think it's a wonderful space in terms of real estate. It's extremely dynamic, extremely challenging, but if you get it right, it's very satisfying. I've always been in HR, I've always given jobs to people. So I can completely relate. I was giving jobs to people and now I'm giving homes to people, which are the two most important aspects of anybody's life, right? So that is where I keep going back to my recruitment and that area of life that I was working. And very important, when you see the happiness in someone's face of what you've been able to deliver, I think that kind of sums it up for saying,
very gratifying.
Very gratifying, and it was worth it. It's okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Anand, you have been one of the early adopters of Aris Unity's services. I would like to know how that experience has been.
So it's been a blessing. So I'm not saying this because we're sitting here, speaking to you. I know of one of your, founders and directors, Mr. Sri, and it's been amazing. And why, right? What happens in this line is you need to keep the, like they say, keep it going, and you can keep it going. At times you end up getting to a dead end. At times you start facing a wall, and when that wall doesn't go away quickly, and you start feeling that pain, that draws you to more problems, and the problem burgeons, becomes a bigger mountain to scale and stuff like that. Aris is something which helps you solve that and make sure that the wall doesn't pile up. What I mean by that is, what are the big things that's needed from a growth of this business? One is the asset which is alive, or the piece of parcel of what are you doing. Second is the materials. Third is the capital, right? Aris is something which basically helps you on big time in the space of the material and the cap. Material is something which I've really used Aris a lot. And it's like magic, right? You look up and say, I have to deliver this, so and so this month. This is my target for this month. Don't know how to do it. There is an artist to help you. So, beautiful space. If you're able to use each other well, it can do wonders. So that's what Aris is doing for us. And it just happened. We just, Srini, as I call him, I didn't know that he was in this space. He didn't know that I was in this space. We just met for a coffee and we said, hey, we should work together. It's just happening. Just things started.
It's been a good marriage.
Absolutely. And it's been a good year and a half, started with a little bit of consultancy as well. And a lot of things has been solved, has happened for us with associating with an entity and the way Alice works. And it's been wonderful. And I can see that, if you strategize well, if you plan well, that one big hole or pocket can be easily taken care of by this institution provides. It's been a hugely successful association.
I'm so glad it worked for you because Aris United stands for money, material, and management. Because we provide money because it's one of the most, biggest raw material, I would say.
We've not graduated to that yet, so I think at some point of time in our evaluation with Aris and us, we will get there. But material, absolutely started with management and consultancy. That's where Srini and I started. Then material. Now materials got to the next level. We don't look beyond Aris as our principal partner, as I might call them, into using for our development. So
Great.
It's been great.
Thank you. So what's in future for TMGL and also the real estate industry? Your thoughts about that?
So, like I said, we were an OB. We were, 7-8 years back, we didn't exist, right? Very small, low-key player, as I call it today. But next 5 years, we're looking to become at least a mid-sized player, right? And what I realized is, there's no point in growing too fast, right? We want to keep the pace gradual because there's lots to do even in the gradual space and lots to gain also in the gradual space. So instead of basically leapfrogging and jumping 10 stairs, walk the stairs. And I wouldn't say baby pace because baby pace will not work, but do a gradual rise and lots to gain from the gradual rise and lots to do. So the plan is to basically, even if I have to put a number to it, maybe deliver these 5 projects, which will probably put us in the 2,000 or 2,500 crore bracket, which is not a bad size to be, and then take it from there. That's a trade. That's good.
Your thoughts, Uma?
Very similar.
Very similar.
Definitely baby steps, not baby rather. Definitely
Well,
healthy
healthy
steps.
steps.
Healthy steps. And you say climb the stairs, definitely healthier. So, lot of learning. So definitely ensure that the learning is transcending the right way. And we leave it a lot, as people, we don't plan too much. And that frankly has helped us in life in general, right? It's not 5 years down the line what's going to be happening. Of course, there is this thing today. These are the deliverables. This has to get completed. By the way, if things come in, or we see how it goes. Frankly, that is what it is. So, health and age has to support it.
I'm sure it will. Anand, I think one last question to conclude. What has been one of those most unexpected difference, but from being an investment banker and now a real estate developer? Is there something that you missed most, or is there one difference that you want to kind of?
So I would say not even real estate. Step back. You as an investment banker, I know it's an umbrella, and you are a dynamic guy in that umbrella because you've got the ability or you got a free way to do what you wish under an umbrella, under an institution. So end of the day, you are responsible, but You have an umbrella, you have an institution above it.
Yes.
You're not the provider. You are provided for, and you based on what you deliver, what the institution provides for you, and how it takes care of you varies. It could be multiples, or it could be what you bargain for, right? So there is a growth, but under an umbrella with a protective umbrella, if you will. When you leave that and you become an entrepreneur, suddenly from being provided for, you look up and say you have to provide for 50 people, 60 people that works for you. You have to provide for those 1,000 tenants that you've given a dream to, plus the 1,000 customers that you have enticed and said that I'm gonna, take care of you. Suddenly you look up and say, hey, there are 2,000 plus people that you are responsible for. And there is no guarantee, there is no fixed, assured path. You got to make that. That's the huge difference. I guess every entrepreneur, that's the big difference. Real estate also.
Wonderful, I'm sure. It's so well said. Okay, so now we have some fun questions just to get to know Uma and Anand. Anand, you said you love sports. Uma, you said you're a professional singer, so I would love to know more about it. So, how do you both unwind?
So we got a lovely place where we stay. So it's a huge, good community.
Right.
We've stayed and grown friendships from school days, from college days, from other communities. So we've got a huge list of people that we call as friends, right? So that keeps us going. Down days, back days, friends, out, meeting people, always has. How singing is a huge, it's a magnet. So wherever we go, communities, people, friends know of her as a very talented singer, professional. So we get called for a lot of parties, and I get tagged around for a lot of parties because of her. Because at the end of the party, huge, right? So, there are a lot of people that we can call as close friends and stuff like that. And like I said, sports, right? Try to get involved in sports every week. And that's a huge unwind. So like I do remember volleyball. I still play cricket. So that volleyball is such a crazy thing that whatever happens, that Saturday, Sunday, that fixed 2 hours, I drop everything and make sure that I get there. So that's the unwinding for me. Like I said, friends and music and
it's
time at home.
simple. Absolutely. We are very satisfied with homey kind of parties, just music and singing, and we have a lot of family in Mumbai, cousins. So we can pick and choose in terms of that, and it's very satisfying when we are there and having fun.
I mean, so two of you, who's a morning person and who's a night owl, or both a morning person or both a night owl.
We both are morning. 6:37 is the earliest that we can get up, but
Which is quite early.
Yeah, but 10:30, 11, not later.
Not really late nights, and I mean, there are children, there are responsibilities.
So
then
it's like you would say that both are morning persons. Both between the two of you, do you like binge watching Netflix, or do you prefer to play board games and games?
No
No
board
board
games.
games.
No board
No board games, only binge watching.
Completely binge watching.
If there was a cooking challenge, what is the one dish that you both will together create or make?
Me.
No.
Pulao. That's the only thing he knows how to make, so then I will get into that and say, okay, pulao.
And what's you are a singer? What's the favorite song of yours as a couple?
As a couple.
Or if you want to kind of dedicate a song to your both.
आशा भोसले, बाहों में चली यार और दिन चीज क्या है? These are
Very good.
his favorites that he likes me to sing.
That's okay. To each one of you, what is one hidden talent or skill that you kind of appreciate in your spouse?
Talent is obviously her singing. She's super blessed and she's very, very good. And I guess if there was another her in another life, she would be a very popular, a successful industry, as a singer, right? But super appreciate that, and even today it's been 25 years of marriage, but I still get very emotional when I hear this thing. So still,
How
yeah,
wonderful.
love it. Still love it. No.
Yeah, completely. The person he is, it's a very simple person, not complicated. It's very easy.
Easy with him.
It's ease. There's really not much arguments, whatever. And I think the person that he is in terms of the resilience
I'm sure.
that I've seen him as a person, right? And there are times when I'm not resilient probably at all, compared to him. I think where his ability to take stress in a situation,
Be
yet calm, never get that home to me because I'm anyway in the office, but either children or anyone at home. And I think that is an amazing quality which I sure appreciate, and I pray that that stays, because that is very important in the world today. Like,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing those wonderful anecdotes and your journey. And I wish you the best as a couple and as also for TMGL.
thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been really wonderful to have you as a guest. So
Thank
thank
you
you,
very much.
audience, for tuning in. All our efforts are towards simplifying real estate, and every month we bring in industry experts to share their success stories. So until next time, stay tuned and goodbye.
Thanks.